Ranking Member.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Wojcicki, it's Wojcicki, right?
It's Wojcicki, correct.
Yeah, we have my neighborhood. We have a Polish triangle where all the Polish families live. Look familiar.
Okay.
First of all, I appreciate you sharing your personal history here, and you know, I fully appreciate the value of early detection through 23andMe and other technologies as well, in terms of the value that provides for early treatment protocols for breast cancer. That's really, really, really important. I hope that's something that people get from this hearing today. But also your experience and your situation actually amplifies the need for greater privacy protections, right? On this committee back in 2015, I was a member then. We had a huge hack of the OPM servers, the Office of Personnel Management. So the massive data breach back then compromised the personal information of about 22 million people. But most importantly, that included federal employees and anyone in the federal government that was applying for a national security clearance. So think about that. Who would need in our government, who would need national security clearance, right? Those people are doing very sensitive work. So all that information went over to the Chinese. It was a Chinese threat actor. At that time, the Oversight Republicans really, I have to give them great credit. Jason Chaffetz was the chair of the committee at that point. I was just a subcommittee chair at the point, ranking member at that point. But we conducted an investigation, and they came up with 13 recommendations that the OPM system and its chief information officer should be empowered, accountable, competent, and should, quote, improve federal recruitment, training, and retention of federal cybersecurity specialists. What the Trump administration has done, though, is just done a blanket firing of some of our most talented cybersecurity experts. They've disregarded the cybersecurity and data privacy laws. DOGE is reportedly creating a master database of sensitive information across federal agencies by carrying around unsecured backpacks full of laptops, paving the way for unparalleled surveillance capabilities. So this is an extreme danger to the very systems that we want to protect. So, Professor Hu, how does firing all these IT and cybersecurity experts, does that make Americans' data safer?
Thank you for that question. I think that this raises deep concerns as far as how best do we safeguard very sensitive governmental data. And as you mentioned, the leadership of this committee after the OPM hack, I think, was very important. Not only in recommending best practices for cybersecurity moving forward for the federal government, but also uncovering the ways in which the laws of this body, Congress, were not followed, and that some of those threats that created the types of issues that we saw after the OPM hack could have been avoided. And so part of what we've seen over the last 10 years is that the federal government has undertaken very serious protocols and training programs and the hiring of some of the most qualified cybersecurity officials in these agencies. And now the concern is once those are dismantled, the expertise and also the failure to follow the protocols that followed after the OPM hack, that leaves our nation's most sensitive databases and data on our citizens up to potential abuse and national security risks.
Let me ask you this. So in the past, we have several government agencies that collect troves of information. You think about Social Security, a lot of information about, people getting benefits, their banking information, things like that. The census, that's a repeat every 10-year process. We actually send people to folks' doors to get personal information. The IRS, when you take a look at your tax return and you figure out all the information that you're giving the federal government. We've kept those silos separate until now. Now Elon Musk is joining those so all that information will be in one central database. We got that from a whistleblower. What kind of damage did that do to our national security and privacy?
Well, as was pointed out in the Oversight Committee hearing recently, especially by the testimony that we saw by Bruce Schneier, that the firewalls that are created by keeping those data decentralization creates additional security safeguards. And so allowing for the integration and consolidation of that data increases vulnerabilities in cybersecurity. It's much easier to create the types of risks of exposure that now are at the heart of the topic of the discussion today.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I thank you for your courtesy, and I yield back.